The latest labor force survey revealed that Nigeria's unemployment rate increased by 4.2% in Q2 2023 to 5.0% in Q3 2023, with a decline in the labor force participation rate from 80.4% to 79.5%. The report adopted a new methodology showing a decrease in the unemployment rate from 5.3% in Q4 2022 to 4.1% in Q1 2023. Now, in Q3, the employment to population ratio was 75.6%, with 87.3% of workers being self-employed. Unemployment rates were higher among those with post-secondary education, that's about 7.8%, and youth aged 15 to 24 years, which is about 8.6%. So the informal employment rate decreased slightly to 92.3%, and time-related underemployment increased by 12.3%. The report has faced criticism for not reflecting the current realities, and KPMG projected a further rise in the unemployment rate to about 40.6%. This morning, we're being joined by Mukhtar Mohammed, CEO of Share Dynamics Investment, and he will be talking tomorrow on this. Thank you so much for joining us on Business Edge.
Having me, Bacon.
All right, it's a pleasure having you around. Now, looking at this new methodology that has been adopted by the National Bureau of Statistics, do you think it can be considered as a reliable tool in assessing Nigeria's unemployment figures?
Never. It's not. Remember the former NBC director, Yemi Kale, said that this was something that they tried to impose on him before, and he refused it. Because that's not the true, like the KPMG have said, that's not the true reflection of what happened in Nigeria. What they are saying in that report, their own new statistic data is what is, they say it's global best practice. But again, when it comes to global best practice, they need to know what it means by global best practice. In the developed economies of the world, when you are working per hour, you are being paid. So depending on your qualification, and there are people that do up to 3 or 4 jobs. That is why they use that as a yardstick. But in Nigeria, you are saying that anybody that have an employment almost an hour in a day is now classified as being employed. What about the following day? Does he continue to have, some of them will have this employment just for an hour in a day, and they will not have it for the next 1 month, even sometimes 2 months. So it's not a true reflection. It's just, and finally, I think the NBS is losing its independency in terms of bringing out key economics data, especially when it has to do with employment. And the reality on the ground is worse than what they are giving us. I totally don't agree with it. I've said it before and I say it again. It's a political move. It is not the right thing.
So how then do changes in the unemployment rates align with the current economic challenges and realities faced by citizens of the country?
Look, the rate of poverty is high. Companies are shutting down. Companies are not shutting down, reducing workforces because of the high inflation, high cost of doing business, microeconomic instability, insecurity. A lot of foreign companies are even leaving the country because of FX volatility. And so you can see all that, and that's the effect. You can say that we'll be able to employ more Nigerians. These are the risks that we are facing as a nation now. So the main reason why we are facing all these things is what I just mentioned. So, and again, we have not seen the end to it unless something is done in the shortest possible time.
Before we talk about what can be done, in as much as the methodology adopted in arriving at this particular figure might not really be what it should be, let's look at the rising unemployment rate in the country for Q3 2023 down to the first quarter in 2024. What impact do you think this might have on the overall economic landscape of the country?
Lagos is already having an impact on the economic landscape of the country. You could see a lot of protests. Again, even the protest is all about hunger. They are not even talking about, when you talk about hunger, I think of people that does not have employment. And if you look at inflationary pressures in developed countries like UK and also United States, you realize that those inflationary pressures have gone down. But again, why has it gone down? Why cost of living, cost of food and everything is high in the US and other states. But again, they have one data that has helped to reduce the effect, the social effects on it is employment. A lot of people have been employed in these countries, and that's why you've not seen the kind of effect that high cost of living and high cost of housing is having on that comparable to ours. So what we are dealing with is a monster. We're already dealing with a monster called inflation. Now we are dealing with a monster that has to do with unemployment. And like I said, majority of what we are seeing now is caused because of a lot of companies are shutting down, and a lot of countries, multinationals, are leaving this country in every sector of the Nigerian economy. And the reason why they are doing this is because of the instability in terms of cost of doing business, especially any business that is driven by FX.
So quickly, let's quickly look at what administrations have been doing in the last couple of years. Year in, year out, they come when they campaign, and of course, they try to assume the seat of power. The talk has always been, oh, we are going to provide jobs, we are going to make sure that people are gainfully employed and all that. And now you've talked about the fact that the cost of living, cost of doing business is not really favorable. So what is it that the administrations or these governments are missing and is equally leading to a decline in the labor force participation rates?
Legon, they are not connected to the people. And like your report rightly pointed out, it said about 78% of Nigerians are self-employed. And now when you look at that data, and then you look at the fiscal policy and the monetary policy, realize that 78% of those self-employed Nigeria have gone down to maybe we'll be looking at about like 30% if we want to face reality.
Well, that's actually 87.3% anyway of workers being self-employed. So you can go ahead.
You said about 87.3%.
Yeah, 7.3. Yeah.
So when you look at that 87.3% that is self-employed, as we're talking now, I can assure you that it's not up to that amount again, because a lot of them do not have jobs. I'll just give you an example. The person those that used to import cars into the country, now duty have been raised to almost 56%. How many people are bringing in cars now into the country? That sector is almost going dead already, because nobody seems to be bringing any cars because of the high cost of clearing. So the people that work in that sectors are out of work. So when you talk about self-employed also, remember the guy that owns a pharmacy that normally buy drug directly from GSK. GSK is no more there. They are now importing that drug. And he's not even having the financial made to even import to participate when those imported drugs are brought into the country. You look at the consumer goods sector. Nigeria is a highly consumable economy. Our economy is driven by consumables. And now how many Nigerians are able to consume enough? How many Nigerians have the enough living wage to even be able to have enough purchasing power to consume? So the consuming sector, which is the manufacturing sector, the food and agricultural sector, will definitely be shutting down, because a lot of farmers will not be able to go to farm. And even when they go to farm, when they bring this product, a lot of people are not able to buy it like they used to buy it before. So you see what the government should do as econ. You look at the 87%. Why do you keep increasing rate on investment? Because the person that is bringing car is creating job, is bringing effects into the economy, is doing an investment in the economy, and then you tag the price of FX for expenditure for governments at 800 naira through your budgetary allocation, and then you tag that of importation of goods into this country at 1,510. So we need to begin to look at the physical side and the monetary side. They are disconnected from the people. All the government is interested in at the moment is revenue. So the government should begin to look at its people as a resources to grow the economy. And how can they help these SMEs, 87% of these businesses, how can they be helped? They need low funding. We don't have that, because when you go to borrow from the banks, it's high cost. And again, the microfinance bank are almost non-existent. So there's a law that government need to put in place. Government needs to begin to take a bite of their revenue and begin to see how they can grow the informal sector, which is 87% of this Nigerian economy.
Well, you actually, a while ago, lamented the poor purchasing power of the people, but I'm not sure if you probably have seen the video of the current president of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu, while campaigning, saying that his administration will try as much as possible deliberately to slow or reduce the purchasing power of the people to stabilize the economy and slow down the economy. So, of course, would you say that was an erroneous policy in its first place?
When you talk about slow down the economy, when you say reducing the purchasing power of Nigeria, he was relating that there will be a credit system. I think that's what he said, that they will create a credit system. Where is the credit system? They've not created it yet. And how could you reduce the purchasing power of an economy that is driven largely by consumables, by purchase? You should be thinking of increasing the purchasing power of every Nigeria so that businesses will come up growing up. So I don't ascribe to that, whatever video. I have not seen that video. And then if that video is trending now, it will be good so that a lot of Nigerians that voted for him maybe may have not have seen that video. If they have seen that video, they wouldn't have voted for him, because how can it be so? That means it's deliberate. What the policy that is driving now, where cost of living has gone up, yet the living standard of the average Nigerian is still the same, is his manifesto. How can such a manifesto that would drive a lot of Nigeria at today, we said about 125 million Nigerians are poor. How can you come with such a policy that will drag more Nigeria into the poverty gap? I don't ascribe to that at all.
Finally, before I let you go, Mukhtar, now, what initiatives, do you think can be introduced to encourage formal employment and reduce the prevalence of informal employment in Nigeria, if that could be a way to probably improve the employment situation in the country?
Lego, I don't think there's any way formal employment. I don't know how much of formal employment we can have, because industries are not coming. And the largest employer of labor in any economic is the service sector. The service sector is largely driven by infrastructure, especially power. So how much of that are we ready to invest in? So that's what we need to begin to do. The largest driver of any economic in the world is the service sector. But for the service sector to strive, there must be infrastructure. And the major infrastructure that the service sector needs is power. And that power is non-existent. So those are part of the thing that they need to look at. Government should begin to think of paying lip service to power. They need to build power. We need to have more power. We need power. That's what we drive. That's the key to industrial revolution. And once you have industrial revolution, then you create a lot of employment. And that is not happening yet. Then government should also think of cost of doing businesses. Like I've said, they should take a bite of their revenue, because as it stands now, most Nigerian businesses, this self-employed business that you talk about 87%, are driven by importation of goods into this country. But very well, then you have to pay so much on tariff, then you are killing those businesses. So the government should take a look at taking a bite at their revenue. And thirdly, they need to partner with the SMEs to come up with a strategy whereby they will be able to borrow cheap funding so that they can grow the economy. The informal sector is the life wire of the Nigerian economy. And like your reporter rightly pointed out, 87%. And so we only have 13% in the formal sector. The government need to concentrate more on the informal sector and see how they can help them strive.
Mukhtar Mohammed, CEO, Share Dynamics Investment, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. We appreciate that.
My pleasure.